It is time to spend a little time with our good friend Lauren Merkel from Merkel Retirement Planning as we are creeping up at the end of the year. Remember, we told you that earlier. We are under 100 days in 2020, and believe it or not, you're going to have to start thinking about taxes and some things you can do with your tax strategies that could help ensure having a little more jingling in your pocket when it comes time for retirement. And Lauren Merkel, do people really want to start thinking about tax strategies this early?
No, absolutely not. Most people don't want to start considering taxes until maybe late January or February. But this is the time that it really makes sense for people to start thinking about tax planning strategies, because when we think about pre-retirees and retirees, and really even those in the accumulation phase, taxes is your number one risk. A lot of people think about market risk, and the market goes down by 30%, your portfolio goes down by 30%. That's ugly. But if you stay tight, then when the market comes back up, you're going to get that money back. With taxes, if you pay 20 or 30% in taxes, you're never going to get that money back. And you're going to pay that this year, and you're going to pay it next year, and so on and so on. So taxation is the number one wealth eroding factor when it comes to retirement savings. And by considering tax strategies outside of just the filing time frame in January, February, March, you can save a lot more money on taxation.
Okay, so we're talking about taking care of your tax responsibilities. And in some cases, you take care of the tax responsibilities, and the money you have left over, that money can work for you, and you don't have to worry about it anymore, right?
Most definitely. It's not about what you make, it's what you get to keep, and it's what you get to spend. And by incorporating tax planning strategies, that's one way you can really increase the amount you get to keep and you get to spend. There's not a lot of tax planning that's done in this country. There is a lot of recording of tax history. And that's what most of us do. We wait till the spring, we file our taxes, we record what we did last year from a tax standpoint, but that doesn't do anything to help us on saving money from taxation. So there's a number of things that we can look at now as we approach the end of the year. And the thing about, we're almost into October, so it kind of feels like we're getting up to the end of the year, but the thing is that these types of strategies, you can't wait until April or March when you file your taxes. You have to do it by the end of the year. And a lot of times these strategies you actually have to execute on before December, because it takes some time with the holidays for these custodians to actually implement what you're trying to do. So now's the time to start thinking about it.
Okay, so there still is opportunity for you to take advantage of this instead of waiting to the last minute and have this just pay it forward, so to speak, for your own account.
Yes, most definitely. And one of the things that the tax change a couple years ago did is it made it harder for people to contribute to charities, your church or other qualified charities, and receive a tax benefit for it. So one of the strategies that a lot of people are going to now is what's called a donor advised fund, where you make a contribution to a donor advised fund, and then you can take a charitable deduction, and that money underneath the donor advised fund will grow because you can invest it. And then at some point later down the road, whether it's the same year or the next year or 10 years from now, you can take that money that's grown underneath that donor advised fund and gift it to the qualified charity. So it's a way that people, even if traditionally or normally now that you wouldn't be able to take a charitable deduction because you're not over that standard deduction amount, you can bunch these contributions together to get over that standard deduction amount, so you can receive some kind of tax benefit but still benefit the charities that you care about as well.
I've never heard of that, so that is brilliant. And then the benefactor in the long run would be the charity that you're trying to help, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, one of the concerns with this tax law that went through in 2018 is the charities weren't going to receive as many donations because people wouldn't receive the benefit. But what we found is that this country, people are very charitable. They continue to donate to charities, which is nice. But also, if you can find a way to receive a tax benefit from that same contribution, then it benefits everybody even more.
Now, is this also the time when you want to convert some of your, some of the money you have to Roth, or can you still hang on to that for a while till next year?
Now that we're approaching the fourth quarter, you have a better idea of what your year-end income is going to look like. So this is where you really want to finalize the assessment of, does making a Roth conversion this year make sense tax-wise? And if so, now's the time to start implementing it, because you have to have that done by 12/31. You can't wait till next year for this year. And again, these custodians, it takes time to actually do this. So if you wait up until December 27th and say, yep, I want to do a Roth conversion, your custodian may not be able to get it done for the year. So now's the time you want to finalize. Do you want to does it make sense to make that conversion, and then start implementing it if it does?
Okay, let's go back to what you just got done saying there, because that's a very important point there. You may have said, okay, I'm going to start the paperwork before the end of the year, but if the person that you gave it to or you submitted to doesn't have an opportunity to file it, you're the one that doesn't benefit then, right? It's really a matter of getting it to them ahead of time.
Just because you made the decision you want to do the conversion and you have filed the paperwork, you signed it, you filled it out, put it into the custodian, does not mean it's going to get done by the end of the year. In fact, a lot of these custodians will say, we need to have completed paperwork by December 1st.
Wow.
Or December 15th. Now with us, we ask our families, we say, if this is what we're going to do, let's make sure we have all the paperwork filed by December 15th just to make sure we can get it done. But there are some custodians out there that are saying December 1st is the cutoff. Anything after that, there's no promises.
But that's your responsibility. That's not the person you're filing with's responsibility. That's your responsibility to get it to the person in time so it can get filed in time.
Yes, most definitely, and this is really important, especially with the holidays. Also with mail response times being slower. Never has there been a year like this that I can remember that it's more important to get this stuff in well in advance, just to make sure you can fulfill your tax strategies.
Well, this is a whole new thing that we're talking about here, trying to get things prepared before the end of the year instead of waiting until April 15th and things like that. But the good thing is you still have your classes that are out there, and you still have an opportunity for people to sit down and you could talk to them a little bit about this, right?
Yes, most definitely. In fact, this Wednesday, we're going to Pella, Lou. We're going to Pella. We have a complimentary class in Pella. So anybody around the Pella area, if you want to come to these classes, we're going to talk about some of these gifting strategies. We're going to talk about some of the tax planning strategies and all the things that go into making retiring that much easier.
Wow. And if people want information about that, the easiest way to sign up for those is what?
Just go to merkelplan.com and you'll see the available classes as well as the dates and the times. So you can sign up right online, and then we'll see everybody in Pella. All
right, Lauren Merkel, you always get me excited about retirement, which is really amazing that you can do that, especially when you can plan your strategies. And you know, how comforting is it to be ahead of the game, is to be in a position where you're in control, as in instead of reacting like a lot of other people do.
That's the most exciting part, is you take all these complex items and you put it together in a really simple plan that gives you a roadmap to what your retirement vision is actually going to look like and how to accomplish it. So that's the exciting part, Lou.
All right. Great job as always, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Have a great week, Lou.
All right. Thank you, sir.